And again, we've got more. You can actually see the water moving with them here. And I put my net in, and you get a couple each time. You get this thick mud because they're only in about an inch of water, and you don't think you caught anything, and then you move it aside, and there's more of the lovely invasive Dojo Loache. You know, at this point, I just want to switch it up for the sake of, for the sake of the biome here. But Dojo Loaches it is, these Okinawan gold phenotype, or collection point probably is where they came from. But they're literally in this muddy water here. Only, watch how deep this is. It's only about an inch deep. So pretty amazing. All right, so here we are at the infamous Dojo Loache infested pond, and following Thornton Creek down into Lake Washington, and then along the lake edge. This is about a quarter mile from the mouth of that creek. So we've got an area in here that floods pretty heavily this time of year when we get these late spring, early summer rainstorms. And right now it's high enough to be fishing in the reeds here with the dip net. So we're gonna see what we can get, and we're gonna see, it's hard one-handed, we're gonna see if we get any weather loaches. Now, I don't know what to expect. I usually catch them early in the morning. We've got lots of insects. We got some bass, it looks like. Some baby bass. Looks like 3 or 4 maybe. That's interesting. So we can take the bass, gentle with them, grab them by the tail, put them in a collection specimen container. Just look at all those snails though. That is a bummer. And yeah, so many snails. But look at these, all the different dragonfly nymphs and other critters that are in here. Some of them are probably hunting the fish, undoubtedly. Now, I saw minnows in the shallows and was wondering what they were. These are smallmouth bass, and I collect them. I'm just gonna measure them before I put them back. I'm really just looking for the Dojo Loaches here. So we'll have a couple more goes, and I'll let you know if I find anything. But we may take a look at some of the wildlife and plants here too, because it's rather beautiful. I love the Northwest in summer, and hard to find little spots like this anymore, especially one so close to the city. Pardon the seaplane noise, but yet again, I pull in a net, and we've got a young Dojo Loache. We have 4 now, and we've been here maybe 25 minutes, I don't know. This isn't the best time to catch them either of the day. It's best to catch them right after the sun rises or right at sunset. They come out and feed a lot more. Or if it's about to rain, they go ballistic because they're called weather loaches, right? So I just try to grab them by the very tippy tip of their tail, and they kind of calm down for a sec, and then they'll go into the water. But they do leave a little bit of slime coat on you, so you know that there's a slime coat that could be damaged in there also. So you just want to be careful, just for their sake. I know they're invasive, but they're still creatures we care about, right guys? So let's see what else we find today. And we are at another pond here full of Persicaria maculosa, really pretty marsh plant, grows immersed really well. But what we just pulled out of this side is kind of discouraging in that the pH on this side is down around 5 or 6 usually, separated from this side of the pond, which is more neutral. And what we just pulled out of the very acidic water is our second loach for the day. Oh, sorry buddy, calm down. And to blend in with that darker habitat, he's a much darker loach, a lot more spots on him. You can see our bass are still in there doing fine too. Now, they hide, and we're pretty late in the day, and I was really curious to see if they would still be out here at noon. And it appears there's enough that they are. They don't even have anywhere to hide. I don't think there's probably so many. Which is pretty unfortunate. But again, you can see the two different colors. It's just probably they've colored up naturally just to fit their habitat. The one on the sandy, silty soil is blonde, and the one in the boggy water that's kind of tannic is much darker gray, not olive or yellowish green, and he's more of a gray with dark black spots, but they're not far from the same size. The other one seems to be a little fatter, this first one we caught. But look how they just push the fish out of the way. They're in their own little world, that's for sure. Check that out, a coyote in the middle of the day. Just romping through the neighborhood, I guess. Wow. He looks scared. Are the crows bugging him? I don't know. Not the healthiest looking coyote. But he came running from right down that way. So here is the main road by my house. And I used to live down there where all the skyscrapers are, the heart of downtown Seattle. We are a good 5 miles from the heart of downtown, but there are all sorts of lakes along here, up north of the city. And this is also where all of our like Petcos and PetSmart, all that kind of stuff is. And check out this view we'll get here of Mount Rainier. It stands so high above any other stuff on the horizon. I mean, it just dwarfs any other mountains. It stands very high. It's very cool to have that going on here. And you know, this isn't the nicest part of town over here, but there's no part of Seattle that isn't like that you couldn't see a brand new Ferrari in, for instance. Yet you'll also have a homeless encampment with 200 people down this block over here. So I don't know, the contrasts of the nature and the people and all of it is very, very interesting. We're heading to another lake just to see what's out there, what's in the water plant-wise and all that. If we can get over here. And this area, you need to be very careful in this area, especially as it gets dark, which is when everyone likes to fish, right? Dang it, I missed it. In that you will see everything you can imagine. There's no swimming anywhere nearby here, just so you get the idea, folks. Yeah, you have to be real careful in this part of town. So we're going to be, and we're going to go down to see another lake that no one really goes to. Check out, speaking of another Ferrari. Alright, we're set up here where there's a little area where you can walk down to check the water level. These stairs that go to nowhere. And we're going to try in these reeds. That's where the sticklebacks really love in the morning. So we're going to try another one-handed scoop. And see what we got, if anything. Oh, we do. What do we have? Well, let's get it in the sun. They can be very beautiful, these sticklebacks. And looks like we got a little female, maybe? No, it's a male. No spawning going on, which is interesting. And oh, there's a female probably right here, maybe. Let's see what we got going on. Now they do have spines that can nail you pretty good. But they're really pretty, and they come in so many different colors. If you've seen my other videos on them. Also, we've got these New Zealand mud snails that are just a pain. This is a real muddy stickleback. but it's a male that's just getting done spawning. He's got some red on him still. Small little tail. Look at how small their little caudal fin is. And they're actually very pretty when they color up. Both males. And we'll get them both some water here. Now, they don't need a lot of O2 in the water or anything. So they're pretty hardy kind of swamp fish that are kind of looked down upon by some, be it anglers or also people just wanting to eat fish. But let's get them in some water and see them in the sunlight. Right, so now we have a selection of stickleback I've gathered. Mostly males, which is interesting. In fact, all males, it appears. And we've got the spawning male here, who's just beautiful with the blue eye and the crimson throat. And then we've got these other males and babies. This one has a little bit of color to him, a little bit of red in the throat. But this one was from over by that sandbar over there. And so he was over more in the open water. And you can see he's got more plate armor on up by his head, and so does this other one. Whereas this guy, who's hiding in the reeds, is a much darker color. One, because he's spawning, but two, because he doesn't need as much protection. Whereas these guys who are going out into the open water, they need that protection, and they also need the spines that they put up when they're threatened. The babies, you can see, have very similar patterns to the adults, but all the babies will have stripe patterns if there's grass and reed material for them to hide in anywhere nearby. They'll match that and hide in it. Ducks being probably one of their main predators. But they're always a really fascinating fish to watch, a very dynamic fish. And like I said, same little pond, and you'll get lots of different color morphs showing up, which is really fascinating. So we're gonna let these guys go, and maybe we'll send some to Dr. Anthony, Dr. Mazeral. I know he wanted some, so maybe this male, maybe we'll keep him. I'm sure he's already spawned since there's a bunch of babies in the water nearby, but maybe we'll get him down there and we'll let the rest go while we go look for our next species. This is a spot that the creek follows, and it holds a special memory in my mind as a kid. It looks like there's some beautiful moss down there in the creek. That might be a must-have for aquascaping right there. That looks beautiful. We'll have to figure out what that is. But needless to say, my grandmother and grandfather lived several blocks down this way. So as a kid, I would come down here and go fishing, not for anything to eat, but just for little minnows and tadpoles and newts and things. And this is the connection flowing for 8 miles, winding through the city. You can see old flood control, water control devices, and this willow tree has always seemed so perfect to me when I was a kid. Absolutely love the way it looks. But I used to go under this bridge, which does not look possible anymore. But that moss, I'm very curious where it came from, and we might have to go knock on a door and find out. So this is growing in a stream. Ooh, we got a trout right in here too. Very pretty. There's 2 of them. They're swimming. They're big trout. Wow. They're big brook trout with red and golden spots on them. There's 2 of them right there. And they're hanging tight, but look at this beautiful, looks like some sort of rechia or moss. No, maybe not a moss. We'll have to go down there and find out just what exactly is going on. I'm gonna knock on the door of this house here and see if they'll let me go down and take a sample. Look at how beautiful this meandering creek is here. Just incredible that this is in the city hidden here. Love it. All right, so it looks like we have maybe a smallmouth bass or a bluegill along with a pumpkin seed fish.
Yeah, the bigger one's the bass, the other
Yep.
one's the pumpkin seed.
Yep, pumpkin seed fish. Beautiful little tails. They almost look like little cichlids.
Yeah.
So if we look at it, this looks bigger than a smallmouth bass in the mouth, but I think it is a smallmouth just because I haven't seen any other bass in here. But the pumpkin seed fish is beautiful right now. It is a red side, has a beautiful red side and blue tips on the tail. Hope you guys can see that. And the algae's really grown in this year, which surprises me because, and you can see, look, it looks just like a little discus. These are such beautiful fish. People in Germany and the Czech Republic, I've noticed, are starting to post photos of very colorful morphs, like they're working on lines of them. But look at these beautiful colors the males have. They set up these beautiful displays. It is a smallmouth bass. They set up these beautiful displays. Hold on, a plane. Beautiful displays of clearing the algae meticulously, putting either clay or lighter colored rocks in, and clearing out an opening for the eggs to be laid in and nest. And a lot of times they'll have all sorts of things like pop can rings and chip bags and other sorts of things that they clear. Now what's weird is that this bass, it either wants the eggs or it's just enamored by the beauty of this beautiful red pumpkin seed fish that you see here. It's rather interesting that they're side by side like that. Usually the bass would either stay away due to the pumpkin seed being angry like it is, or would try to eat something. Clearly the pumpkin seeds are too big right now for that, but they are guarding their territory closely, and that bass is going to slip away into the water. Now I've seen some bass here that are well over a foot long, a couple pounds, and you can see them swimming out there in the water, and they're more top feeders this time of day, especially with it getting warm. They like all those bugs and all the dragonflies and mosquitoes and things that are in this water here. Now it's yet to be seen whether the Dojo Loaches are in here, but we do know obviously that the pumpkin seed fish are doing really well regardless of anything, and they are a beautiful fish. Now as we pull out of here, Mount Tahoma, or Mount Rainier as we call it, lost its top once. Well, once in recent history, the 1700s, used to be pointier, but it is a very imposing and beautiful mountain. It really does stand out all on its own, 100 miles from any other peak of prominence. Alright, so now we are driving back towards my part of town from the creek and lake, and I get this view of these mountains. Used to see these from my house in Ballard, but those are the Olympic Mountains over on the Olympic Peninsula, the part of Washington State that sticks out a bit like a thumb, and you can see the snow line. That gives you an idea of how high that snow line is on Mount Rainier. I mean, the snow's real high up on these ones, so it's pretty amazing. Just a beautiful day.